Day 2 of the nationwide protests in Nigeria dawned with a palpable tension in the air. The streets buzzed with a mix of anxiety and anticipation. Yesterday's demonstrations, while largely peaceful, had seen sporadic outbreaks of violence. The specter of unrest loomed large, casting a shadow over the nation. The Yoruba Nation, a significant ethnic group in Nigeria, found itself at the heart of this unfolding drama. The grievances fueling the protests were deeply rooted: soaring inflation, crippling unemployment, and a pervasive sense of government disconnect. Nigerians from all walks of life were feeling the pinch. The Yoruba people, with their rich history and cultural heritage, were no strangers to struggle. But this time felt different. The stakes seemed higher, the consequences graver. In the face of mounting unrest, voices of reason began to emerge, urging restraint and calling for dialogue. Abdul Hakim Adegoke Alawuje, a prominent Yoruba leader, stepped forward to condemn the violence that had marred the previous day's protests. Alawuje, known for his measured approach and commitment to peaceful solutions, addressed the nation with a heavy heart. "Violence begets violence," he declared, his voice echoing across the airwaves. "It is not the answer to our problems. It only deepens the wounds that divide us." Alawuje's words resonated with many. He acknowledged the very real pain and frustration felt by the protesters. He spoke of the broken promises and the systemic issues that had brought Nigeria to this precipice. But Alawuje also cautioned against letting anger and despair lead them down a path of destruction. He implored the youth, the lifeblood of the nation, to channel their energy towards constructive solutions. He called for unity, for a collective effort to address the challenges facing Nigeria. The Yoruba people, with their strong cultural identity and deep-rooted traditions, looked to their elders for guidance during this tumultuous time. The Yoruba Obas, the revered traditional rulers, recognized the gravity of the situation. They issued a joint statement urging calm and restraint, their words carrying the weight of generations past. "We have witnessed many storms in our time," the statement read. "We have seen the best and worst of humanity. Let us not allow anger to cloud our judgment. Let us not tear down what we have built together." The Obas, guardians of Yoruba history and wisdom, reminded their people that progress was rarely achieved through chaos. They called for dialogue, for open and honest communication between the government and its people. The Obas understood the power of words to heal, to bridge divides, and to forge a path forward. Their message resonated across the Yoruba nation, a beacon of hope in these uncertain times. Bracing for impact, tensions run high. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the land, a palpable tension gripped the streets of Lagos, Nigeria's bustling commercial capital. The air crackled with anticipation, a mixture of fear and defiance hanging heavy in the humid air. The rumors had been swirling all day, whispers of a government crackdown, of escalated security measures, of potential violence. People hurried home, their faces etched with worry. Markets, usually teeming with life and commerce, were eerily quiet. The streets, normally a cacophony of car horns and street vendors' calls, were eerily deserted, save for the occasional patrol car slowly cruising by. The government, in an attempt to quell the unrest, had deployed a heavy security presence. Armed soldiers, their faces grim and stoic, stood guard at strategic points throughout the city. Hope on the horizon, dialogue as the path forward. As darkness descended upon Nigeria and the nation held its breath, a glimmer of hope emerged from the shadows. Civil society organizations, religious leaders, and prominent figures from all walks of life stepped forward, calling for calm and advocating for a peaceful resolution to the crisis. They recognized that violence would only beget more violence, further tearing at the already frayed fabric of Nigerian society. They called for dialogue, open, honest, and inclusive dialogue, as the only way forward. They urged the government to listen to the legitimate grievances of its people, to address the root causes of the unrest, and to work towards a more just and equitable society. They reminded the nation that Nigeria, despite its current challenges, had overcome immense obstacles in the past.